Good morning. Hi, my name is Desiree Morgan, and I am here to talk about home and school connections with English learners and the importance of culturally responsive teaching. Cultural influences on teaching and learning shape how students communicate, build relationships, and make meaning of new concepts. Through my experience in early childhood classrooms, I have seen that children come to school with valuable traditions, life experiences they can share with us, and language that can greatly enrich learning with those strengths when those strengths are welcomed and celebrated. Cultural competence means understanding, respecting, and responding to the diverse backgrounds of students and their families. This is especially important for English learners because it helps them feel accepted, supported, and confident in the classroom. I have seen how wonderful it is when teachers include home languages, multicultural books, family traditions, circle time songs, and cultural celebrations during holidays in our daily learning. English learners begin to feel proud of who they are and they become more willing to participate, which is a beautiful thing to see. When students feel seen and valued, they are more engaged, they are more confident, and they're ready to learn. Culturally responsive teaching builds belonging and supports academic success. The role of culture in student learning is foundational because it shapes how students understand the world, how they express themselves, and build relationships with others. Culture influences a child's identity, his communication style, and prior knowledge, all of which directly impact how they learn and process new information. In my experience in early childhood settings, I have seen that when a student's culture is acknowledged and valued, they become more confident, more engaged in the classroom, and they're more willing to participate in new learning experiences. School and classroom environments have a powerful impact on language acquisition, especially for English learners. Students learn best in environments when they feel safe, supported, and have a strong sense of belonging. When students do not feel included, I have seen they feel hesitant to take risks with their speaking, which can slow the language development process. In order to create an inclusive environment, educators must intentionally build strong, trusting relationships with students and families, incorporate visual supports, honor and include home languages in the curriculum, and connect instruction to students' cultural backgrounds and lived experiences. These practices communicate respect and belonging, helping all students feel valued and supported as they grow academically, socially, and linguistically. Some great strategies for supporting and celebrating cultural diversity in instruction first start with bringing families into the learning experience. In my classroom, I have seen how powerful it is when families come in to share food from their culture, traditions, clothing, even music items, and stories from their culture. It really creates those wow moments where children light up, they feel proud of who they are, and they learn to appreciate each other's differences in a fun and respectful way. Teachers can also use multicultural books and family baskets during circle time, where children can bring in special items from home and share them with the class for a show and tell. These small moments, they build confidence, they build connection with their peers and teachers, and it builds a strong sense of a classroom community. In order to support home language and cultural strengths, it is important to keep strong communication with families and work together with parents. When teachers share simple ways families can support their child's learning language at home, it helps language grow faster and it creates consistency between home and school. When we celebrate what students already know, learning becomes more special, exciting, and empowering for every child. So when we support the needs of ELs in the classroom, some thoughtful ways to support the strengths, needs, and identities of all English learners, including those with special needs, begin with an asset-based approach that focuses on truly seeing the child for who they are and valuing their language, culture, and experiences they bring with them. In the classroom, I have found that using visuals, story retelling with sentence frames, hands-on activities, and small group instruction really helps students access learning in ways that feels less overwhelming and more exciting. And ultimately, that's what we all want for our students. Differentiating instruction allows each child to grow at their own pace that feels right for them, which builds confidence over time. When we intentionally honor students' cultural backgrounds and strengths, they feel a stronger sense of belonging and are more willing to engage in their learning. For social and emotional support, building consistent relationships, having predictable routines in the classroom, and safe spaces where students can express themselves, makes a lasting impact. When students feel seen, valued, they begin to truly thrive and flourish in the classroom. Understanding the social and emotional cultural needs of students is so important when creating classroom routines and procedures because it truly shapes how children experience school each day. Social emotional learning is one of my favorite things to teach because I've seen firsthand how it builds this foundation for everything else a child's learned. When students feel safe, understood, and emotionally supported, routines stop feeling like rules and they start feeling like something they can depend on. From my experience, taking time to learn who my students are, their culture, their home life, and how they express themselves changes everything about how a classroom runs. It builds trust, it lowers stress, it helps children feel like they belong. And when that happens, they are more willing to participate, follow routines, and learning tasks. And they take risks. When routines are built with empathy and cultural understanding, the classroom becomes a place where every child can grow confident and feel truly valued in their classroom environment. Home and school connections. Family and community practices, often called funds of knowledge, deeply influences language learning because they are the foundation of what children already know, experience, and understand before they even enter the classroom. When a child's home culture, traditions, and everyday experiences are honored in a new language feels more familiar, valuable, and accessible. From my heart as an educator, family involvement is one of the most powerful parts of this work I'm inspired to do. The trust families place in us with their family is something I never take lightly, and it reminds me how important it is to build strong home and school connections. When that partnership is nurtured, children feel safer, more confident, and more willing to use language in authentic ways. Even something as simple as a child sharing a word from their home language during class can open the door to confidence, connection, and deeper learning. Building strong partnerships between families and schools and the community starts with something simple but powerful: real connection. When educators slow down and take time to listen to families, it builds that trust that carries into the classroom. One of the most important practices is clear, consistent communication that honors home languages and invites family to be part of their child's learning in thoughtful ways. When schools provide translated information and encourage families to continue their native language at home, it affirms that their culture and identity are valued. Family engagement grows when teachers also offer easy, practical ways for families to support learning at home and genuinely welcome them into school spaces, not just as guests, but as partners. Inclusive community involvement means creating an environment where every family feels respected, heard, and connected to their child's school community. These relationships help build a sense of belonging. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. Have yourself a beautiful day.